signature accents, more aesthetics, more power, more. What is up, internet world, and welcome back to Accelerate. I'm Mike Van Hout, he's Ian McAlpine, and today we're in the 2025 Volkswagen GLI. Welcome to the all-new, fully refreshed Volkswagen Jetta GLI. First things first, we want to give a big shout out to Delmar Motors for letting us borrow this brand new black 2025 Volkswagen Jetta GLI. First things first, there's only one model, and that's called the Autobahn. You can get it in manual transmission or DSG, which is what this one is. I love that there's only one package you can get, and it has a starting price of $34,995 here in Canada, regardless of if you get manual or automatic. How cool is that? In the US, it starts at just under $33,000. That is cool. Now in Canada, you can get this one package. It's called the black package, and it's $500. And then you can get pinks that range anywhere between $295 to $495. Pretty simple stuff. In the 2025 Volkswagen Jetta GLI. Now I will put it in sport because there's lots of different drive modes here. I will press the mode button, I will put it in sport. I have eco, comfort, normal, sport, and then custom. So I am in sport mode now, and I will not launch this thing, but I will just gently hit the throttle. And see what we got out of this 7-speed dual clutch gearbox. You can hear that sport exhaust in the background. It sounds good, sounds good. Jetta GLI. Now you can get this in manual transmission, and the crazy part about it is that this is the last manual transmission you can get. They've got rid of it in the GTI. Goodbye GTI manual transmission, but you can get it in the GLI for this generation. Now this is a facelifted, refreshed version, so it's going to be modern with all your bells and whistles, and yes, you can get it. It does have progressive steering as well. Like, the steering on this is excellent. It took me about 20 minutes to get to this site right here, and the whole time I was like, wow, this is really, really good steering.
So for 2025, the numbers remain the same. The Jetta GLI is still powered by a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that makes 228 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. Now those horsepower and torque numbers are lower than the current generation Golf GTI, which makes about 241 horsepower out of the same engine.
Now, even though this GLI comes standard with sports suspension, what they consider sports suspension, it doesn't feel stiff whatsoever. So don't be alarmed when you see it on the order guide thinking, man, it's going to be way too firm for what I want. It's absolutely not even firm. It's actually really soft on your back. But when you turn it, it does a really good job to track well. Yeah, like look, I mean, you can't really see it by my body moving left and right, but I can tell you by this steering wheel, it does a good job. That it downshifts to give you that vroom vroom with the sport exhaust. Now the Jetta is not available in all-wheel drive, only in front-wheel drive, and to try to offset some of that wheel spin, it does have a front differential lock. Now I didn't pin it because this is a brand new car, but I will say even under decent load, the front wheels still kind of lose grip every now and then. I will say once you get moving, in first gear, anything over 4,000 RPM, you can fry these tires if you want to. That gives you the indication that it has enough power. It'll make you feel like it has enough power, and they're not going to make this thing all-wheel drive anytime soon, just at this price point. Now it's got all the sporty pieces, including these pedals. These are rubberized aluminum pedals, and they feel very solid. And so are the brakes. As soon as I lay on the brakes, the vehicle does stop right when you want it to stop. It doesn't feel spongy or paddy or anything. Now again, shifting at about 4,000 RPM because this is a new car here. And there's 45 on RPM, and it shifts very fast with this 7-speed dual clutch DSG that we're used to for years and years and years. This gearbox is excellent.
Because this is a brand new car, we won't be doing a 0 to 60 test, but the GLI in automatic form should hit 60 miles per hour in around 5.6 seconds. When it comes to fuel economy, the GLI should get you around 8.4 liters per 100 kilometers in the city and 6.1 liters per 100 kilometers on the highway.
So let's talk about aesthetics on the front of this refreshed GLI, most notably this unibrow. Check it out. It is nice and thick. Anthony Davis would be jealous. Moving down from there, you have a connected light bar or a center bar that illuminates when you put the lights on. You have 3 individual pockets, I guess, and it looks a lot more like an Arteon now. Even these DRLs now actually change to amber when you have your signals on as opposed to a fixed light bulb. Now, along with the red you see here, they've added black around the corners here to add more depth to it. Also, this is a functional vent unlike the past. Now, speaking of the past, we got one of these guys, and in the future we'd like to get something we can place on this side of the wall. That usually happens when we hit 1 million subscribers, but we are very close to 300K, and step by step is what I was taught when I was a young boy. So here we go, 300, 400, 500, all the way to 1 million. So we'd appreciate your help to get us to 1 million. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, moving around the corner, you will see the front bumper has a small little piece of trim that adds a little bit more depth, some character to your GLI, aka GLI. Now, you have 18-inch wheels. If you come closer and take a look, these are 225, 45, 18s with red brake calipers in the front as well as the back. Now, again, this does have sport suspension, so it sits a tad bit lower than your regular Jetta. Now, everything is all black because you can get it as an option with color and a black roof. Yes, you can, at a $495 cost. You have the GLI badge right there. Some people don't like in that specific position, but hey, it's a change up from the past, so why not? Now, the big deal here is this 228 horsepower and 258 pound-foot torque motor can take regular fuel. Look at that. Not premium. You get a sports compact sedan that takes regular fuel. To the back of the GLI. Now, aesthetically speaking, they've done some updates to this tail lid. It looks like an Accord and an A3 had a baby. Ta-da! You've got the Volkswagen logo, and the GLI badge has moved. It used to be over there, and now it is right here in the center. And it's all brought together by a light bar, all the way down. Boom and boom. That is a cool feature to match the front. Down from there, you do have a rear view camera, and then you have full out tailpipes that actually have air coming out of them. 1 and 2, and they're legit. All right, interior of the GLI. First things first, the sill has ambient lighting in it. That is cool. All right, look at these seats. This is Vienna leather. These are ventilated and heated seats. You have 3 increments. And in Volkswagen fashion, you can have them both on at the same time. Yup. Oh, look at that. Beats audio. You have 400 watts with 8 speakers. Boom shakalaka. Okay, what else do we got here? Wow, look at this revised dash. This is cool. You have an 8-inch screen and you have a 10.3-inch driver's screen that is fully customizable. You can move stuff around by using these 2 little buttons on the steering wheel. And these buttons, you're just pushy, and it changes it up. And speaking of steering wheel, I like how it's got these edged profile at the face of it. And of course you have the perforations, it holds really well. And you got the red GLI in it. It's cool, it makes me feel like I'm in a sporty car. You got wireless charger. You have 2 USB-Cs there and 1 hiding in the glove box. You have aluminum pedals on my feet. You have the shifter that's actually a shifter because a lot of vehicles now don't even have shifters. They have these little buttons that you push forward and backwards. But you have a physical shifter here with a pipe boot with red stitching in it. And if you haven't noticed, red is a theme with this GLI, including on the door panel. Look at that. More vinyl on the dash with more red stitching. And you have this 3-bar design they've used on all the vents. Now, the Golf doesn't have actual knobs for your volume and your tuning, but this guy does. And that's probably a plus side for some people that don't want to deal with this haptic left and right, up and down stuff. I don't mind it. You get used to it. More pressure you put in it, the volume goes up and down because you have to use it in this, but it's in your HVAC controls only, as you see on the bottom here. Very, very simple. I put my finger and I slide it up and it makes my fan go on faster and slower. Very, very easy to use. Now, with this 8-inch screen, you have an additional display, I guess, and it's called Performance Monitor. You hit the Sport button and you have this. You have a PSI, your G's, basically your forces when you go around corners, and how much power you're making in kilowatts. Now, some people might say, why is there only an 8-inch screen? It's not 1995, it's 2025. This should be larger than 8-inch. Well, I will say that probably it's due to cost. This is priced very, very well, and maybe a bigger screen would have cost more money. I will say on a positive note though, it is facing me. It is not facing everybody else. It's definitely driver oriented. Anyways, moving down from there, you do have your ambient lighting underneath. You have 10 different colors you can pick from. You have your 4-ways. Again, we talked about my HVAC controls where you have heated and cooled seats. My start and stop button is there. My 12-volt to plug whatever you'd like in there. You do have a bunch of blank buttons, but you do have your stability program, your start and stop button, your different drive modes, your electromechanical parking brake, and then of course your shifter with a red outline in it. And then 2 cup holders, a pretty decent size center console with a little tiny pad on the bottom. That's kind of cool. It's made in Mexico. Now, some people might not know this feature, but you can actually raise the height of this center armrest. It doesn't slide backwards and forward like the Golf does, but it does have these little things you can pull out and you can make it a little bit higher. Kind of a slick move if you ask me. Volkswagen. And above me, you have a very large single sunroof. This is not panoramic, but it feels kind of panoramic. It's definitely larger than a typical singular sunroof. With a shade, that's manual. So let's talk about this GLI and the back seats and putting the seats down, because there's a ton of room back here, but you can't do it when you're in the back seats, unlike the GTI or the Golfs. You can only do it from inside. So when you're sitting back here though, you will notice this two-tone leather pretty obvious, especially in the center. Look, it's all dark Vienna leather here, and then you have the perforations in the center to match the front. You do have 3 increments of heated seats on either side. There is no venting here like the last generation, so some people complain about that, which means you just have to crank the air conditioning on higher in the front to get the air back here for people in the back. Now, in the center here, I do have 2 cup holders and a small little guy in the middle. There is no way to put this center down. It is just simply 60 and 40. As far as comfort goes here, there is a lot of room. Decent amount of headroom for me being 5'9". Someone 6'2" would probably have to just duck a tiny bit, but it's a good amount of room, especially when it comes to your legs. That's about it. In the back of this, July. Now, something Volkswagen does really well is touch this button and it opens up very, very easily. You have to spend no effort to open up this trunk lid. But look how much room you have in your back. A GLI, 45 inches worth of depth. As far as width goes or opening, you have just about 43 inches. And then check this out. Look how much room you have from the bottom to the top here. You have 23 inches. This is a really, really big trunk, guys. For a compact sports toy, this is a big one. So that's that for the refreshed 2025 Volkswagen Jetta GLI. If you guys like the new updates, let us know in the comments below, or do you think the old one is sufficient enough for your needs? Catch you on the next one.